As we head into game number 2, the Osiris looked really strong. What do you want to see DeathPanter on now?
I'd still play the Osiris. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Just keep making those plays, and then hope that we're gonna see the solo laner pick up the Guardians to be able to exploit that even further. And I'm telling you, that matchup, the Warrior versus Guardian, it always will go in the Warrior's favor if you don't get any assistance from your jungler.
So right there, Sanguine, if they want to go the same direction with the DeathDodo on the Sobek or something similar Guardian-wise, you definitely need to see a little bit more help from Nika on that side of the map. Susano, Cabrakan, Thoth, and Hunbat's banned out. Cyclone said, hey, we destroyed you with Thoth, but now that you're first pick, not going to happen. Sanguine do have the option, and it will be the Terra first pick. My, have things changed.
See, the thing was, Sanguine on the Terra here, they picked it up the last game around. They didn't really fully utilize it to its potential because of how much early pressure that CycloneGG had. Sure. The mobility from the ultimate didn't take into true effect, but this time around, CycloneGG, they're going to take the Fafnir right off the bat. They're going to be looking for these objective plays with the Medusa.
Yeah, combined with the Medusa, Medusa already is a fantastic character when it comes down to taking objectives, not because of the usual fanfare. Usually when we say a god is good with respect to objectives, it's because they have some big burst ability to make sure that the enemy can't take it. Well, Medusa's fantastic because if you're going to come and test and contest the Wlfy or whatever objective, Medusa's able to ult and just freeze everybody. So that combined with the Fafnir and the Isis,
yes.
Cyclone looking directly at objectives.
That's what you have to do whenever you have a Fafnir. You're trying to synergize a little bit more with it. That circle protection with a huge burst damage. You're also mitigating damage with the protections. You're going to get a huge heal at the top and the end of things. So if Sanguine doesn't ward Wlfy, expect some early plays from those two ultimates.
Absolutely. I mean, Isis was one of the characters back in the day that you just focus on those early objectives. And Smite has changed. It's a much different game. I think she's still a character that you pick and start looking at those minute 2 objectives. Bellona is going to be paired up for CycloneGG, likely in the solo lane, and she'll be headed up against what's likely to be that Hercules in the short lane. Although Terra, Hercules, they can sort of swap spots, but it'll be the Xbalanque coming out here.
Xbalanque, surprisingly enough, hasn't gotten enough playtime recently in Season 4. That Darkest of Nights is going to be a huge determining factor to win some of these engagements. Normally it's used against global ultimates to make it more difficult to land it, but either way, still going to be a solid transition also to get towards that late game. The Branching Bolas did receive a little bit of a buff using less mana.
Yeah, so right now, Branching Bolas with a Death Toll is net neutral. Yeah. You're not losing any mana, which is pretty nice there. Camazotz, the selection for CycloneGG. Another curious choice here. Things always going in a different direction. Cyclone hoping the game stay in their direction. It's 1-0. CycloneGG at the moment. And as we bring you our final game of our final set of the day here on European Saturdays, I'm very interested into seeing how well this Camazotz works.
Deathwalker playing the Bellona. Now, I was thinking it was going to be a flex pick potentially, that iceice could have been playing the Bellona for the jungle, because we've seen that before when Bellona was introduced, that it was being played in the jungle, but instead going more of the traditional route, having the Bellona in the solo lane, and iceice playing the Camazotz in the jungle is going to be doing a lot of damage from a distance here, paired up with the Isis. And that's what you really want to do against a Ratatoskr that's relatively close range.
Right. If you aren't familiar with this Camazotz, basically think, you know the double tap from Thor? That's this god's whole gimmick. He's looking for long range, extended range engagements rather than being up close and personal. And MikeTheMagikarp already set up for a bad lane here, or at least a bad laning experience. Not necessarily going to lose the lane, but being Xbalanque, you have no wave clear.
No, not at all.
Having the 1-on-2, you have no wave clear. And being up against a Medusa, I mean, that's a 1-6.
Still gets the archers, though, with those Branching Bolas, getting those 2 Ogre small minions, gets him level 2 after that whole wave, so still not going to fall behind experience-wise too much on the side of Vote or Callus. Just has to make sure he cuts his losses as often as possible.
So do you think it's right here with Terra, DeathPanter joining Dodo here on the right side for Hercules? Is this necessary?
I don't mind it necessarily, because you're going to have your Terra rotate, and you need to make sure that this Terra finds the roots whenever she can, because in the laning phase of the dual lane, level 1, she's absolutely useless anyway. Yeah. You're going to get out-pressured either way, so make more use of this Terra by putting her in the solo lane.
Makes sense.
Great body
Deathwalker
blocks.
relatively low, but like you said, the fantastic body blocks coming out from Camazotz. Iceice saves his solo laner there.
And DeathPanter's going to save Dodo a little bit with some sustain from that monolith. And the idea behind having DeathPanter rotate here is his global ultimate presence. Wlfy forced into early. Aegis doing a great job juking left, right, and center. Doing a lot of damage, trying to get iceicebaby in the potential kill threshold. Does have the speed buff to chase down Mr. Stefan potentially.
So all characters feature this sort of Othello mindset where, you know, you take a minute to learn, a lifetime to master. That's the beauty of these characters when they only have 4 abilities, right? But some characters, I think, have more depth than others. I think you pick up a Poseidon and after a couple of matches kind of get it, right? You can maximize your Whirlpool Krakens, but you can kind of get it. Isis, on the other hand, you can tell when a player has made a large investment into Isis, working both the maneuverability of the Wind Gust, long-range Spirit Balls, making use of the Silence and the Protection Shred. And right there, Wlfy showed us that, like, he has a handle on this character. I'm excited.
Deathwalker getting pulled, pushed, taking a lot of damage, rooted into place. Does hit level 5. He does have Eagle's Rally available, but into the sky is Nika, but not in time. Deathwalker times the Eagle's Rally beautifully.
Here's the sound cue, but he walks into Nika then. The stun is strong, and DeathDodo gonna look for the tower dive. Not quite confident just yet. Finds the flip onto the Camazotz, and he'll generally be okay.
DeathPanter's here to throw out the monolith if he wants to as well. So not going to have too much to worry about. Missing the stun opportunity. Deathwalker's still here, but he doesn't have that Eagle's Rally. Nika's low, but so is Deathwalker. This is about a 2.5 versus 2.5 matchup here.
Yeah, this is a very, very curious situation for Deathwalker to walk into. Tries to dash out, does get rooted either way. Not too big of a deal, though, for either of these teams.
And with this much action in the soul lane, both mid laners and hunters are just going to continue to farm. There's nothing really that either of them can do.
And this is curious that Cyclone was the ones really trying to find these kills, because if I'm Sanguine, this is what I want for Mike. I want everybody on the other side of the map. Hell, if I can make the hunter go away, I'm doing that too. MikeTheMagikarp just needs time to, I used to call the solo lane the oven. That's what MikeTheMagikarp's looking for in this long lane. Just put me in the oven, and in 15 minutes, I'll come out and I'll be a brand new boy. Just don't holler at me until then.
Using the ultimate can give him some assists as well, trying to get that kill. But ooh, having to use his dash. But the ultimate from Vote, finding the first blood, hitting level 7. And this is what is going to allow him to get a huge power spike now, working on that Transcendence.
Yeah, it's a really bad spot for Mike to be in right here. You can see both players started off with their boots instead of going for the stacking item. But either way, it's less about the kill on a Mike and more about the time spent dead. When you see Mike die, that means that Vote across the way is going to be able to pick up that single wave, pick up these oracles, no sweat. All right, his team's going to pick up the oracles. But he gets that wave, no sweat, and just a little bit more. You're looking for this snowball.
Nika was looking for a play potentially there with the bead still down onto iceicebaby, but he recognized that Callus was there. That would have been a 2-on-3 for Sanguine. That's not a fight that you really want to take as a Ratatoskr. Still had beads available to be able to get out of danger. But the fact of the matter is, whenever Nika's in the air, he can't really focus Wlfy because of the fact that the Wind Gust cannot get knocked up. So that's a huge counter, which is why we see the relic selection of the Aegis from Wlfy, which actually saved his life around level 4.
Yeah, I mean, that choice right there is just absolutely. We were talking about Zeus. I mentioned Ra. And I mentioned Poseidon. These are the characters that you want to at least think about starting the Aegis level 1 off against, because yes, the control that the Whirlpool offers Poseidon is strong, but his biggest threat is obviously the Kraken. So being able to negate that instead of the CC coming out from DeathPanter, Nika, they're momentary CCs as opposed to the damage you're going to inhale. So bringing out that level 1 Aegis, certainly a good look.
Heading back to base was a Vote, hitting level 9, 1 level advantage, maybe even a level and a half above MikeTheMagikarp. And with this huge net worth advantage against this enemy hunter, 600 gold lead separates these two, and the Transcendence raise is heavily into Vote's favor.
And 500 of that comes just from the kill. That other 100 was what I was talking about, the wave picked up while the player was dead. This Medusa is going to be able to push the Xbalanque under tower if they're even. With a lead now, that's going to make things really troublesome for MikeTheMagikarp.
Ooh, a lot of damage there being used. Ice's ultimate is popped. DeathPanter forced to go into the ultimate. The ultimate from iceicebaby, but the Kraken getting immune by a nice Aegis yet again from Wlfy.
And Mr. Stefan can't find a way out. Really tried to do so. DeathDodo by himself pushes Deathwalker to the tower, but again, finds a way out. Deathwalker still looking clean.
This is Gold Fury, Tom. This is a guaranteed Gold Fury. Callus' ultimate has just expired, but Eagle's Rally is available. But instead of going to the Gold Fury, electing to steal the speed buff away from Nika is Deathwalker. Very greedy play.
And here comes Callus over the wall looking for DeathDodo. Gets stunned out. Cyclone leave the gold. They leash fully for one support.
They tried to find Dodo, but Wlfy and iceicebaby didn't want to commit to the kill. Nice driving strike from Dodo, avoiding the Spirit Ball originally. Had that Spirit Ball connected, would have been out of position completely. And the beautiful counter rotation from Deathwalker, from DeathPanter, finding the root.
Do you agree with the call to release, right? To leash the Gold Fury right there?
Well, the fact of the matter was, without the Ice's ultimate, you're not mitigating a lot of that Gold Fury damage. Everyone from Cyclone was relatively low in the first place, and one driving strike at level 9 is enough damage to do maybe 50% of a Squishy's health. So it was a very risky call without any confirmed ultimate, and that's why I was surprised originally that Deathwalker didn't go for Gold Fury, instead elected to invade the speed buff.
All right. Because I wasn't sold one way or another. I was surprised to see them leash it. I think the Gold Fury was very low, but at the same time, that Hercules is a very big threat.
And the thing is, if they're not dying on the Gold Fury side and they make a little bit of a calculated risk towards going for the Hercules, they're still getting a net positive by Deathwalker invading the speed. So the discipline call to allow this objective steal to occur and then just to reset is what makes a team very well orchestrated and elite.
And even without the objective, they're still sitting, 1,600 gold. That's relatively fine for this moment in time. And you're 9 minutes in the game, very early on. That's the type of lead you want to look for. That Gold Fury, like you said, had you taken the more dangerous path of sticking to it, all of a sudden 3 players die, Gold Fury goes down, you lose a tier 1 tower in mid, and what's a 1,600 lead for you at the moment turns into a 2,000 gold lead for the other player.
Deathwalker is going to chase out Mr. Stefan, but a nice rotation from Dodo. Eagle Rally over the driving strike. That wasn't even necessary. And the nice zigzag through a Deathwalker trying to find the steal, but Cyclone get the Gold Fury. They're going to look for a little bit more of a chaser. iceice can't really find the correct angle.
Love the weaving of Deathwalker right there, finding the kill sort of in like a slalom type way. Vote finds the kill on the left side. But Deathwalker continuing his reign of terror from game number 1, still finds himself about a level and a half above his opposition, but very crafty play here.
The solo lane from the CycloneGG has just been making plays both games. Osiris game number 1 and game number 2 still going for the same pathing option itemization-wise, going for this Frostbound Hammer, really trying to stick it to the Hunter out of MikeTheMagikarp.
Yeah, and he's, again, the Xbalanque. This is one of those picks that the character is extremely strong late game, largely because he gets 30 free power if everything goes correct thanks to his passive. But when you see a character like Xbalanque picked, more usually you see these characters picked up in the jungle role. Deathwalker tried again, take out 1-on-3, still winds up positive. 1-on-3, winds up with a kill. I don't know if he can escape this one.
Oh yeah, he is. The Deathwalker uses Eagle's Rally, Meditation be used as well. Nice little knock-up, Spirit Ball buying time. The Ice's ultimate was not available to buy him out of that one. 1-for-1 trade, but they're not done yet. iceicebaby's here. He's definitely diving this tier 1, Tom.
Yeah, the Dodo's in trouble. Here's a couple of swings from the sky, and Wlfy cleans him up with a Spirit Ball. Deathwalker, the man with no fear. Absolutely, just going at it.
So he was level 12. He got the Sunder. He finished off his Frostbound Hammer to be able to hold on to that Portal Demon objective. The timing of this level 12 from Deathwalker couldn't be any more advantageous for himself and his teammates.
And that was on purpose.
Absolutely. He finds the kill. Not only does he find the kill onto Mr. Stefan, he forces the Kraken, he forces the ultimate from Nika. Now the rest of his teammates don't have to worry about these 2 ultimates. They continue to dive onto DeathPanter in the solo lane, and now they get another 750 gold in the form of the Portal Demon.
Cyclone just doing exactly what their name says and picking things up and going crazy with him. 32,000 gold. That's going to be an easy 5K gold lead, or just about. And Sanguine going to try and shorten that by taking the oracles, and they'll get him, but
oh no,
Vote just gets Mr. Stefan easy.
Just too far behind is Mr. Stefan. Level 14 on the side of Vote with this red buff, 49 stacks on the Transcendence. You definitely don't want to be near this Medusa if you're a squishy.
Just easy. As soon as the Lacerate caught on, that was it. That was the death for Mr. Stefan. Cyclone respond by continuing the threat, taking out the tier 1 tower in the mid lane. Look at Deathwalker, Toli. There's just not a care in the world.
Terra's Blessing was used, trying to allow Dodo to get out of there, using the mobility a little bit further. Not able to defend this tier 1 tower on the right-hand side. Middle fell earlier on. CycloneGG, they're on an uphill climb.
And they're just going to keep on going. 5,700 gold, and why not push a tier 2 tower? Because there's just not enough opposition. DeathPanter is going to flank from the side. Nika gets 500 for taking out a tier 1 in the mid lane. But now it's all about the team fight. Sanguine have brought Deathwalker down low.
The Petrify.
Great Petrify brings down a couple of players. DeathDodo half HP. Nika half HP as well. But everybody on Cyclone a little bit less healthy.
Isis ult being used, doing a little bit of mitigation, trying to peel for everybody else on the backhand side. The Deathwalker finding Mr. Stefan. Vote is coming back into the thick of things. A second death for Sanguine, but
Nika,
diving the backline.
Backside, double kill for the jungler. Ice takes care of him, but Nika gets the job done. Wlfy and Vote down. That means Cyclone can't do whatever the plan was, whether it was go back to the tower, whether it was continue the team fight, whether it was invade the jungle or look for the fire giant buff, their plans are negated because of the play from Nika.
What would have been a 2-for-0 for CycloneGG now becomes a 3-for-2, which is still advantageous for them, but not as much. Had they got a 2-for-0, tier 2 tower guaranteed.
That's the play that I want my captain to make. Oh man, that stuff really excites me, Toli, because this is Nika, like I said. Hey guys, I'm a hunter. I guess I'll play solo for you, whatever's best for the team. Yes, I got captain of the team now. This is my team. I get to play my position a couple of weeks in. All right, guys, I'll play jungle, whatever's best for the team. Even when he was playing hunter, we had him on the interview. He didn't play the hunters he wanted to pick. Whatever was best for the team. Whatever is best for the team. And then finally, you get to see this play come out from you. If you're Dodo, Stefan, Panther, or Magikarp, you watch that play, and you just go, thanks, Captain. Like, that's what your leader is supposed to do. Put himself behind enemy lines and even things up. That is a wonderful play. It's a statement play for Nika and his team. And Sanguine right now, the other 4 guys on Sanguine, they have to respond in kind to Nika. You did us a favor. It's our turn. We have to group up as a unit and win something for you.
Unfortunately for Nika and Sanguine, despite that nice double kill, they're still trailing 6,000 gold at the 15-minute mark. This is not the same game as game number 1, where Cyclone had about a 2,000 to 4,000 gold lead for a majority of the game. This time, Sanguine, they're slowly and surely falling apart.
Even still, that 6K gold lead is better than the 12K that would have happened if Nika doesn't find that double kill. Gold Fury just gets obliterated. Cyclone taking it out right in front of Sanguine. No chance to survive. Make your time. Here on the left side, however, there's going to be a continuation. Deathwalker still just walking at people. DeathDodo just brought down from 100 to 0 before the ultimate can come out. Kalas takes credit for the kill off of the Kraken. There's Vote on the backside, barely alive, and he's ticking down, but he should be fine. Big stun coming out for the mid lane, and Mike gets his first kill. That's 5 power. He goes down to the hand of Wlfy, however, and DeathPanter still the target. Sanguine unable to come up clean on that team fight. DeathPanter again goes to Wlfy. 3-1 and 3 for the mid laner.
3-for-1 for Cyclone. They found the goal here. Deathwalker's not done. He has speed buff. He's not going to let Nika go away here. Lurking in the back left Harpies also is going to be iceicebaby, stealing away those back Harpies, taking away more farm from Sanguine. Despite getting the gold Fury, Cyclone, they're greedy for more.
Yeah, they absolutely want to find at least this mid lane tower. And this chase, this Benny Hill music, is frequently important.
Because this gives enough time for Vote to try to look for that play, but luckily for Nika, the dart was available to get out of action. Surely that would have been an easy tier 2 tower dive without that ability.
Yeah, that chase right there from Cyclone, like I said, it's frequently important. Right there, nothing bad happens from it, but nothing good happens from it. The idea is that you chase Nika around so that he can help in the mid lane when the rest of your team sieges, but Sanguine able to play good D and keep Cyclone off their tier 2.
Not only does it prevent Nika from really defending the tier 2 mid, but it also prevents Nika from split pushing in the solo lane, trying to find any sort of counterplay for his teammates.
Iceice misses some, and he'll be controlled for it. Big damage coming his way. He's brought down to about a quarter of HP. There's Nika. He confirms the kill on the enemy jungler and darts out of trouble. Great play coming out from the captain one more time. DeathDodo here on the front side. DeathDodo needs to get his ultimate off next time before he dies.
Absolutely. Unfortunately for iceicebaby, his ultimate just came online during the darkest of nights. Wasn't able to use that to prevent the ultimate from Nika. He did have Blink available. Nice little beats from Vote to prevent the driving strike. The Eagles rally onto 3!
And there's the ultimate out of MikeTheMagikarp to help the situation. Cyclone going to continue pushing forward. Portal Demon down to about 25, 8% HP. Still being tossed around, and there he's leashed, but trouble on the bottom side. Sanguine dishing out the damage, but Wlfy getting the kills. Kraken used on the tankiest member of Cyclone, and Collis punishes Stefan for it. DeathDodo here still trying to do what he can, but it's just not enough.
Look at all the player damage from Deathwalker. He stayed in that back line uncontested. He has 6 stacks of the height of the Urchin. He's just making such a dominant performance here today against Sanguine, both on the Osiris and now on the Bellona. No one from Sanguine can really handle this. You have to put all 5 members and hope nobody else from Cyclone is going to assist this backline penetration.
There's that Executioner, the Executioner Bellona that Deathwalker is, this is his build pretty much.
When you're this far ahead, why not go Executioner? You have Frostbound Hammer and 6 stacks at the height of the Urchin. You have the health, you have the physical and magical defenses as well. So now you're also having the damage mitigation from the Circle of Protection. You're just going to be a threat.
So I didn't ask too many questions when you see this. When you see the Frostbound Hammer on the Osiris, it's kind of doubling up on what he already does. He's the slow man, and that's what he does, right? Deathwalker on the Bellona, however, you don't really think about Bellona and Frostbound Hammer going hand in hand like you used to. I think with the world of the tier 2 item, Heavy Hammer, that was a much different planet. But now with the full Frostbound Hammer, why do we see this build come out from Deathwalker?
Because of the Scourge range. You're actually getting a little bit more of an extended than melee range with the Scourge, so you synergize that with Frostbound, keeping people in range of your in-hands. You can Shield Bash, in-hand, Scourge, in-hand, and then they're constantly going to be in range of those in-hands. And on top of this, going to Executioner, it's also going to give you the attack speed to constantly get more of the benefit from the passive of all your abilities, and the passive of the Executioner is going to synergize with the physical damage coming out of Vote's Medusa that's almost hitting that late game stride, just now finishing off that Fatalis.
Deathwalker just intelligence across the board. We've seen him successfully run the game in game number 1, and you know, he's not only is he top player damage totally, but he's 5,000 ahead of the opposition. Now sure, he's got an Isis, which is not exactly a Vulcan or a Thoth, but Mr. Stefan across the way, I mean, he's 0-6-2, so that answers my question. But 5,000 damage above your Hunter at 20 minutes in the game, I mean, this is the solo lane show.
The season 1, season 2 solo lane performance right here out of Deathwalker. Read it and weep. Nika taking a lot of damage from iceicebaby, but just going to get those right side mid harpies, no problem. Gold Fury going the way again from Cyclone, their 3rd one, uncontested completely. This is just looking completely ugly for Sanguine. They're down 17,000 gold.
Yeah, that objective right there, totally. That Sanguine just kind of.
They can't do anything about that one.
I think they're showing us the cards here, where they kind of toss out the flag. Look at that. DeathDodo wards right in front of Deathwalker. Deathwalker now with the lead, looking what could be the final push for Cyclone. Is going to be from the sky coming, and Captain Nika still can't find much. Vote gets Mr. Stefan. The Vote gets MikeTheMagikarp, and there's help. Vote gets DeathPanter. He's rolling trips. Wlfy takes the 4th kill, and the Phoenix goes down. Nika's the only one alive. How symbolic. Sanguine watch as the Titan falls down. 5-20. Cyclone taking this game to the cleaners, and this set 2-0. Cyclone above Sanguine. Stop playing with your food and just eat it. There it is. Cyclone chows down and Sanguine watches. It's a 20,000 gold differential. for the guys on the side of Cyclone.
Nika was the captain, and he fell with the rest of his ship. He took the plummet there. Still winless is Sanguine. CycloneGG looking very strong that set, though.
All in all, I got to give credit where credit is due. I think that Nika does look like a strong force in the jungle. I think this overall has been an improvement for Sanguine, despite the fact that they do drop to Cyclone. Before I pass to the analysts, I want to give you one more moment to talk about your solo lane. Whatever you want to mention Deathwalker.
Good job, Deathwalker.
Man,
You made me proud.
Now I got to listen to him for a half hour off broadcast. Either way, Hindu Man and Taco standing by to break it down.
Well, Tully's final sentiments are completely true. Good job to Deathwalker. That first game of this 2 that we saw between those two, Sanguine got off to a pretty interesting start there. They kept it pretty even throughout, but Deathwalker just blew them away as the game went on that Osiris.
There was absolutely nothing even when it came to Deathwalker and the rest of Sanguine, just completely dominating from the get-go, having that massive level lead just really contributed to how much of a threat he was in the team fights. And even in the solo lane, Dodo just had no response whatsoever.
And this is kind of where it started to turn up for Deathwalker in this game, is this solo kill against DarkDodo. This just started to extrapolate his lead a little bit stronger and get him to this point where he could potentially, like pretty much did, 4v1 at certain points.
Yeah, he was certainly doing his best Maniac impression and walking at people with zero contest. I mean, what do you do when an Osiris is that far ahead? You can't do anything. You just accept it and let it happen.
And accept is what Sanguine had to end up having to happen to them there. They kept it late in that game, though. 38 minutes long was the length of the game, so Sanguine did hold on for a while. How do we feel about Sanguine's performance with Fisher now going into the Hunter role, Nika to the jungle? This is still a learning team quite clearly, but they're still not learning quick enough to find points.
It's obvious that they're lacking that little bit of synergy, and on top of that, they just don't have a whole lot of experience in their roles individually at this point in time, especially doing a shift so late into the split. It's going to be really difficult, I think, for them to really find their rhythm with this roster, and at the same time, it did seem a little bit better than what we've seen from them prior to in game number 1, but we saw what happened in game number 2, and unfortunately, they weren't able to hold on nearly as long.
No, not nearly as long, because obviously, once again, Cyclone came out and did very well for themselves. MBK was one of the stars of that game, playing, I believe, the Medusa in that game. Medusa with one of the highest kill counts in the SPL so far, over 100 already, and making individual plays and team plays all day long with these Petrifies.
Hunters have really been favoring this Medusa pick, and it's just because she has such a huge power spike coming from the early to mid-game stage. On top of that, her Petrify is just absolutely devastating a lot of the times whenever she just finds a way to sneak back in. And even in a lot of these replays, we're seeing Vogt just wrapping around that backside, doing everything he can to position himself to ensure that that Petrify is hitting as many people as possible.
Now, even though it was a good performance coming out from Sanguine overall with how they've actually tried to answer back, Cyclone, however, that was against Sanguine. They didn't look the best they could. They've still got tougher opposition that they've had to face before, and they'll have to face in the gauntlet as well. What did we have to see improvement on Cyclone's side?
Cyclone's primary issue at this point in time is probably their drafting. They tend to pull out a lot of these riskier drafts because they want to take the initiative for something different and potentially catch teams off guard most of the time. But I feel as if they just picked a little bit more conventional, because I know you should always try to break away from the meta and look for something new to try and be a little bit more creative. But at the same time, don't let your creativity stump what could potentially be safety. Well,
Europe always likes a bit of creativity. We saw 2 Ares games today, and both those Ares games won. So even though Ares hasn't been picked so far, 100% win ratio for that young man there. Let's go to the standings, though, and you'll see exactly how Europe breaks down after week 5. They have no more games this week. Obey sit at the top with 13 points. But the tricky thing now comes, Taco, is that Dignitas and Valence Squadron, their remaining game is against each other. And if that goes a split, there's a chance for Energy to actually catch up to them or cause some problems here.
And for that, I'm sure that Team Dignitas or Valence are really going to be pressuring each other to try and come out with a clean 2-0, because neither of these teams wants to fall behind to the other, and especially not risk a team like Energy swooping in at the last moment.
And that also secures Obey Alliance will make it to Masters, by the way, with their performance so far. Nobody can actually catch them on that 13 points and knock them out of being a top 2 team. So Obey Alliance have qualified themselves for Masters based off the fact that Dignitas and Valence will face each other, and only one of those two could actually catch up and knock them down into an awkward spot spot there. So Obey Alliance, congratulations to them. And that's it for Europe today. But we still have things tomorrow. Taco, what's going on tomorrow?
And tomorrow, of course, we have North America, where we'll really get to see a lot of these teams face off. You've got Eager versus Noble, always a match to look out for. And then Soar Gaming, a team that recently just managed to find their wins, hopefully can potentially pick up a couple more. And just North America in general is pretty close as well when it comes to the standings. So a lot of similarities between EU in these regions, and that these teams are all looking for the clean set wins, because when LAN is on the line, I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm sure that those teams really want to be there.
Yeah, the top 2 from these splits will go through to the Masters LAN. The rest will come to the Gauntlet LAN to try and get a final spot there as well. Very important for them. Before we leave the broadcast today, do want to remind you one more time, thecaster.tv. Get over there and apply now. If you think you've got some casting talent and want to try and win yourself $10,000 for first place, you can get there too. Taco, I believe you're in that picture, right? You're very excited about it?
I am, but the R is covering my face, which is probably the best part.
Oh, definitely. Cover your face, because that's the worst part of you for sure. At least your mouth is, anyway. How rude you are normally, hey?
I have no comment.
No comment indeed. But that's all we've got time for today over at hi-rez Studios. Europe is ended for week 5. Tomorrow, North America begins. Make sure you tune in. Same place, same time. We'll see you there.